This is a presentation of the University of Wisconsin-Parkside.
My name is Billy McCullum. I graduated in 2012, August 2012, with a communication major and a minor in ethnic studies.
My name is Emily Jacobson, and I graduated from UWP Parkside in May of 2012 with a degree in communication with an emphasis in public relations.
My name is Ashley Ramchak. I graduated in 2011 with an organizational communication degree.
My name is Abby Bickle, and I graduated in 2010 with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication.
If I had to offer advice to current students, I would say don't ever not go for a job because you don't think it's realistic. You should dream big, and you should always go for what you want to go for in the professional field. You know, finding a job is hard once you graduate. I was very lucky to have had this kind of fall into my lap, but it's just important, I think, to keep with it and, you know, always do what you love. They say if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
I have applied for over 200 jobs since I graduated a year and a half ago. The main concern, I think, with a lot of people is they think that once they graduate, it's just a given, that you don't have to work anymore, that you actually have to still continue to push your name out there. Sometimes it is a struggle, but it is all worth it. I think that with those over 200 applications that I applied for, trying to get my name out there, I actually gained a network of people that I still rely on as well to this day. So it did pay off, but it is a lot of work. You have to struggle, so you know, it's just about experience. And if you get a job right after college, that's not necessarily your dream job. You have to just know how to apply those skills that you use in every single job to get you to where you want to be. And if you apply yourself, you will get to where you want to be. One thing that I would recommend someone to do as their senior year is approaching is to get your name out there, start doing internships before you actually graduate. That way, after you're graduated, you are prepared and ready to start interviewing for other positions in the communication type of role that you would have received as an undergraduate.
Okay, there was a lot of things that I did when I prepared myself for looking for jobs. First, I had to look at salary. I had to look at location. I had to look at is it something I actually wanted to do and something that I could do with the experience that I had. It's a lot of soul searching because you want to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do, but I don't want to run into a dead end. So how high is the roof for me? How far can I go within the company? So I guess there's a lot of research that you need to do in the preparation for looking for a job.
As a basketball official, I read Referee magazine, and I saw there was a job opening in a magazine in the month of May. I believe it was the May issue, and I looked at the description, and it was more of a marketing-based job, but a lot of the skills that were listed revolved around communication. So I took a chance and I applied for it, and ultimately I went in for an interview and a follow-up interview, and then I got the job. So my number one advice for students who are currently communication majors would be to look at the jobs that you have right now and look at your resume and put all those pieces together to start building a solid resume for when you start applying for jobs.
I think networking is the most important thing. I started bartending. I met a gentleman who kind of opened me up to this job at another radio station in Milwaukee where I initially started. So I feel like bartending kind of opened me up to that window, my first job in radio. That job in radio ultimately kind of led to me hearing about this position here at 95 Little Rock. Not only did I hear about it from a previous boss of mine at a previous radio station, but also just among my fellow peers at UWP Parkside. I heard about this job opening from several of my classmates, and I probably never would have heard about it had I not gotten that first bartending job, because I would have never got the job at the Milwaukee radio station. I may, you know, obviously never would have heard about the job if I never went to Parkside. So I feel like everything kind of fell into place, and I think networking played a huge role in that. I think meeting people is how you kind of get ahead in this industry, at least, I believe. I feel like in my professional career and, you know, at Parkside and even friendships that I've made, it's important to always leave a positive impression, because you never know when someone's going to put in a good word for you, or when you're going to leave a mark on someone. Even the smallest negative taste in someone's mouth, for lack of a better word, can perhaps be, you know, detrimental to you.
I believe that the communication degree makes me a viable candidate for potential jobs, because it gave me that background knowledge. It gave you impersonal skills. I mean, you are able to speak with someone that might not necessarily have the highest of powered job, but you're able to relate to them. You're very adaptable. I believe that the communication degree has set the foundation for being a very adaptable person. My communication degree has prepared me for the job search incredibly. The organizational skills that I have learned and gained from a lot of the classes and a lot of professors that have prepared me for the job search. I think that when you're going into interviews, you have a better sense of what they're going to ask you. You can play off their cues, not only the verbal communication, but the nonverbal communication. And I think that that is a really great aspect of this communication degree, that you can actually do that. You can prepare yourself by, you know, the background of your degree.
I guess I never was extremely outgoing before I started taking classes at Parkside, and I feel like just the classes that I took within the communication department helped me kind of become more outgoing and kind of form into my own skin, I guess you could say. My sister is a great example. She's a lot younger than me, and you just recently had her first job interview, and she was so nervous and she didn't know how to act or what to say, or I feel like, even it was hard for her to have a face-to-face conversation with someone. When you're a comm major, you do a lot of that in class, outside the classroom. You just learn to be more comfortable with people in general. I feel like that's important for after you graduate and when you're looking for a job.
As a freshman, I would often, very early in the year when I was first getting started, I would sit in my car until it was right before class, so I wouldn't have to go in and talk a lot with the students. And I chose communication as a degree because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and communication seemed broad, but I got more out of it than just a degree. It really made me who I am. Also, my writing skills grew a lot. You're writing for a lot of your assignments, and in communication you're given sort of the freedom to write about things that you enjoy, and so I really was able to push my writing skills to a new level, which helped me as a writer in my first job.
My communication degree has just made me a lot more confident in being able to speak with people. It also makes me feel like, this is what I like to tell myself before I go into an interview, I'm a communication major, so I'm these people. Like, that's what I try to think. Like, these are my colleagues, or these are who they were once me. Like, I can give this interview just as good as these people can. So that kind of helps me numb my nerves a little bit. Every time I go into an interview, or when I'm done with a job, I always think of this one girl who I graduated with. Her name was Megan. I'm not gonna say her last name, but her name was Megan. She was a great student. She can communicate with the best of them. She's just an awesome student. And I always think, if Megan would have went to this interview, what would she have done? Because, I always get that infamous email that says, your application was good, but we have found other candidates who are just much more qualified. Or after the interview, after meeting with them in the interview and getting the phone call, yeah, we have decided to go with another candidate. I always think, oh gosh, that's Megan. Like, Megan is the one who just got this job. And so now I always think, you know what, when I go into these interviews and when I fill out this application, I gotta think, I gotta beat Megan, because otherwise she's always gonna get the job. So you guys have to realize, I don't know where you guys are at right now, but your classmates might be your Megan. And you always have to understand that you have to outwork the next person, because if you're the employer, you're gonna wanna give the best person the job. And so you gotta be that Megan.